Chatting with you guys is part of a three-part series about entrepreneurship, execution, and giving back to the community. It was part of a keynote that I delivered at the Ziegler College of Business at Bloomsburg University back in October 2017. The first part of the video series, I chatted about a winning mindset, the importance of setting your expectations properly and also raising your standards as it relates to your potentiality for business success. In this episode, we're going to talk about the necessary skills. As a quick reminder, when I look back on the last 20 years of my career, you could kind of break my success down into three categories. When I say my success, I really think my study of other successful entrepreneurs. The first one is having the appropriate and the winning mindset. The second is having the proper skill set. And then the third thing is putting in place a operationally sound model to execute your idea. So today we're going to talk about the necessary skills. First thing, so important, you're only as good as the team that you're able to build. A lot of people who are solopreneurs or who end up building small companies, for whatever the reason, never develop that skill around team building. Warren Buffett, the great investor and entrepreneur, says that successful entrepreneurship is about hiring smart people and getting out of their way. That's pretty profound. Think about this. As it relates to you building your team, what is your recruitment strategy? What does your brand stand for? So in other words, why would someone want to work for you, both personally and what your particular product or service brand stands for? What you stand for and why you do it is critical as it relates to building a great team. Are people inspired by you, or do they share your product vision? Do you have a mission to do something on a level that others don't? This is important when you're building a team. How do you think about company culture? What types of company cultures have you built in the past? Some of these things are going to kind of weed out the most talented people in your community from joining your company versus them joining other companies. What resources are you leveraging to recruit top talent? How do your products and services make people feel, right? How competitive are your wages and your benefits packages? And are you willing to kind of put your money where your mouth is and offer up equity, ownership in your company? These types of questions lead to the right ethos to think about how to build a successful team. And you're only going to be as good as the people around you. When I think back to the days of when I built Pepper Jam never would have become what it became without the leadership of people like Mike Jones and Ken Moen and Brock Siegel and Aaron Baker and others at that time. And obviously, a lot more leaders were part of that. The second necessary skill in order to be a successful entrepreneur is just financial management. This is one of the most difficult for people. I kind of get it. When you think back to grade school and high school, we either identified as being good at math or not so good at math. If you weren't good at math, you just basically couldn't wait until all those classes were done so you could just avoid it once you got to college. But the reality is that for those of us that kind of did that and then decided to be entrepreneurs, you have to really educate yourself and develop these skills because they're necessary. You need to fall in love with the numbers. There's just no exceptions. And in this case, like I said previously on team building, yes, you do want to hire smart people and get out of their way. But when it comes to financial management and analysis, you've got to learn the skills. You've got to learn the difference between financial management and financial analysis, the difference between looking at a P&L and balance sheet and a cash flow statement and then being able to project cash flows into the future. So successful entrepreneurs leverage financial data such as past performance, sales pipelines, and seasonality to accurately project cash flow, growth, and operational needs. They also, one of the most important things about really understanding cash flow needs is that you could hit a certain point in your business where you're growing so fast that you don't have any cash, especially if your clients are on payment terms, net 15, net 30, God forbid, something like net 45 or net 60. What that means is that you kind of booked the business, you just didn't book the revenue, and therefore, if you're growing fast and you're hiring employees and you're spending money on building out your office and marketing and all this stuff, you could find yourself in a quagmire. That's why it's important to understand cash flow projecting so that you know when to raise the necessary capital to take your business to the next level. And we've talked in previous AMAs, I've written stuff on the various ways you could go about raising money, traditional stuff like bank and family, government, city, county, state, federal, institutional lenders and investors ranging from angels like myself all the way to venture capital and institutional like educational funds and whatnot. You need to understand what a balance sheet is, right? What a cash flow statement is, what a profit loss statement is, and how you leverage those documents with complete discipline and understanding to maximize the success of your business. In addition to team building, financial management is growth. So traditional sales and marketing is critical. Are you learning these skills yourself or are you completely outsourcing them? If you're outsourcing them, which is fine, I own a digital marketing company, that's cool. But if you're outsourcing them, how much do you understand things like search engine optimization and paid search marketing and paid social, such that you could hold your agency accountable, such that when you're doing your biweekly or monthly reporting calls, you're actually participating versus just kind of listening. I think it's really important for you to take ownership of your sales and growth strategy, particularly around the numbers and your ability to create pro forma or projections, growth projections. I think you need to understand where the money's being spent and the return on that capital that you're getting. So what are your strategies to keep customers happy and get them to spend more and buy more often? I shared this story from the stage about one of my businesses, Refer Local. We had built up this database of like 100,000 customers, and we were spending anywhere from $30 to $50 to acquire a new customer through traditional media advertising, newspaper placements, radio, TV, Facebook ads, all that stuff. And we had hit a certain point where I said, wait, how can we get our existing customers, the ones we've already paid for, we've already acquired, to order more frequently and to buy more when they come to the website? And I put together what I call my latent buyer strategy that basically incentivized our customers based on how long ago they purchased. So if they only purchased within 30 days, they would get a moderate incentive. If they haven't purchased in 60 days, a little bit more aggressive, etc. These are the kind of things that these types of skills, you develop over time. How do you think about affiliate marketing? Do you have a referral program for your business? You should, on some level, and it should be formalized. It shouldn't be just a handshake. Are you using social media as an extension of your customer support team? How are you thinking about social media? Are you thinking about it as a growth strategy, or are you thinking about it as a customer service nightmare? Something that you only use when someone goes and contacts you through social media when they have a problem. Growth marketers, successful entrepreneurs are growth marketers. They're constantly thinking about what their model is for sustained and continued growth. And the thing about it is like successful entrepreneurs develop sales models So they think through what their products or their services are, and they say, how many of those widgets or things or services do I need to sell in a given month to grow month over month by 5%, to deliver 15% quarterly growth year over year, to develop 100% annualized growth. In other words, doubling the size of your company every year. If you do that on a compound basis, you're going to build a really, really big company. But that's what successful entrepreneurs do. The final thing that I shared with the Bloomsburg University students and faculty and folks from the community is that I have found both an obsession myself and other successful entrepreneurs that I've studied that they are obsessed with continuing education. So what are you doing to, on a daily basis, weekly, monthly, to increase your skills? Successful entrepreneurship requires you to invest long term and continue to build out those skills. One thing you might want to think about doing is exploiting your weaknesses. In other words, identifying those skills that maybe I just mentioned that you're uncomfortable or insecure about or that you really haven't developed yet, and start there. And just become obsessed with self-educating yourself on that over time. Read books, read digital content, go to masterminds and do other types of things to improve your skills in those areas. Another thing is, you need to kind of be humble as you're educating. Just because you read a book or a chapter or an article doesn't make you an expert just yet. You shouldn't micromanage. Leadership, I've said, and I believe, is about inspiring leadership in other people. So be humble, but also hold yourself to a high standard. How many books do you read a month? 0? Should I have asked you how many books you read a year or how many books you've read in the last 5 years? It's really about holding yourself to a higher standard for continuing education. And successful entrepreneurs are obsessed with this. In the next video, we're going to talk about how you build an operationally risk-averse process. I will see you then. Peace.